Boo.
Now.
You are
Here we
listening
are.
to Grumpy Guy BJJ Podcast. Boo.
Little technical difficulty there.
Hey,
what's up, guys? Got to take care of a few things before we jump into this week's episode.
Starts.
Yes.
Or the mic's
First, our
kinda
ramping
hot.
isometrics for BJJ program.
Just the backup is hot.
It
If
is
we
a
haven't
12-week
had
program,
knock on
all
wood
laid
now
out
and
for
talk
you.
about
It's
it.
going
We
to help
haven't
you build
used that
strength
backup
and
in ages.
cardio.
Yeah.
There's only been a couple
Fastest,
times.
safest, and most
the very
convenient
beginning.
way
I remember
possible.
when you first got this
Just
program.
started
So
sold
I've
the
been training
software
for
we
the past
installed
year,
on
and
us.
love it.
Yeah.
So we put
Once-
this
once
program
you got that all
together so you
sorted
can
out,
just
it's been
follow
pretty
along.
smooth
Yeah.
sailing.
Like,
We are
man, we
certain
just
you will
jinxed it.
see
I'm
and
sure
feel
it's
the
gonna
benefits that we do.
corrupt the file. And
It's only
use it now.
$15.
You're Smurfy and
Just
you're
go to
fucked up a lot, buddy.
grumpyguyBJJ.com.
There you go.
Click the
Yeah,
drop down
so
menu
here we
in the
are.
upper
Here we are.
right
We got
corner,
Z.
You'll find it.
Z the gray belt.
R3.
Sweet.
Yep.
High five. We didn't
This
high
is
five
our
for that, man.
K2
That's right, man. I
D3
got his
supplement.
promotion
It is a
this week.
I gotta
combination
give your sister
of
high
those
five,
two
too, for
vitamins,
yellow belt.
D3 and
That's pretty
K2.
awesome, dude.
These
She's
are two
close to
vitamins
that
that
blue
James
belt,
and I have
buddy.
been taking for a long
Yeah,
time.
she's gonna
and
be-
really help us recover
I mean,
from
I,
hard training sessions.
I told her
And for
that
only
curriculum
$15
that I'd come up
with
with.
free shipping,
I feel like if she
you get
knows
a whole
that,
month's supply.
like that's blue belt.
I was
Like,
going
if
to
you
pull
know
up some
everything I got
studies
on there,
explaining
like,
the
that's-
benefits of D3 and K2.
You understand
But
it,
I'm
you
not
can
going to
execute
insult
it.
your intelligence and pretend to be a
I
fucking
think she'd
scientist.
be, you know, I've talked
I
to Kevin
take
about
it.
it.
It helps me recover. That's
I'd
it.
be comfortable
So for
putting blue
15
belt on her
bucks,
when she turns
check it out.
16.
Yep.
And last, but certainly not least,
hard.
we have
Her
partnered
birthday
up
month. Is
with
she February birthday?
Jiu-Jitsu.com.
March. He's
They
He's
have a
February.
ton of awesome
Yep.
So it's
BJJ
not too
instructions.
far off, really, in the grand
No.
scheme
They
of
hooked
things.
us
We're
up with
already
a
in
discount
September.
code for our listeners.
man,
It's
she's been training
Grumpy10.
as long as I have.
So it's what you got to do
She
is
she
go
started
to
right.
She started right when I did. Like, I trained for a couple weeks, and she was like, "Oh, I want to do that."
DITSU.com.
So she's had some
Find
time
the
off
instructions
and,
you want,
and
throw them in a
you know,
shopping
all
cart,
that, but
in
like
a little
she's
discount
been
code
training
box, you
pretty
type in
consistently
Grumpy10,
for
which is just
almost 8 years.
GRUMPY.
So
And
it
I don't
is,
know.
man.
I wish I would have
Such a head
No
start.
spares.
I know. I mean, I started. I'm happy.
10% off.
Like I started back in
You're up and running.
2004.
They got a nice
So
app
I've
you
been
can
doing
download on
jiu-jitsu
your
for
phone. That way you
16
can take
years
your
now. You
instructions
know.
right to
Yeah.
the gym with you, watch the technique.
Man, so when I was how old
It's a
was
pretty
I?
sweet
I was
setup. So
early
once again,
20s.
Yeah.
DIGITSU.com.
Man, imagine if you would have started.
Discount
when
code
You
Grumpy10,
were
GRUMPY.
I know.
10.
4.
Like
Yeah, I
me.
mean, really.
Yeah.
Find all
Yeah,
the stuff I
it's,
just got done
you
talking
stick
about.
with it,
Go to our
man. It's still
website,
good for everything in
grumpyguyBJJ.com.
Teach
Click
you
the
so
drop
many
down
lessons.
menu in the upper
Yeah,
right hand corner.
we had
there,
to get
you'll
his gray
subscribe
belt.
to our
He was
newsletter
right
for
at
podcast
the point where
updates.
he was ready for
You'll
it,
find links
but
for the Ramping ISOs
needed
program,
to,
R3 Recovery
demonstrate
Supplement, and then under
good
the programs and
attitude in
products
class,
tab,
and
you'll find a link
it
to
didn't want to be
Jiu-Jitsu.com.
rewarding.
And let's
It's
be
kind of tough
honest,
to give a kid a
if you
belt
guys can't figure out how to
after
navigate
class
a
when they've had
website by now,
meltdown or
there's
thrown a
nothing I can
fit
do to
or
help you.
something like
quit
that.
fucking
It's like,
around.
hey, we need to have a good
Check it out. Train hard.
performance so
And
the
let's
other
get into
kids
this week's
see
episode.
that, you know, good behavior gets rewarded, sort of thing. And so he did a real good job with it.
Well, yeah,
And,
belts just aren't about being good at arm bars.
Nope.
They're about everything, man. Be good martial arts. It's everything in life, dude.
You know, have
You
a
gotta
good
be-
attitude.
Good in the gym, outside of the gym. Good training partner, good friend, all that stuff.
Actually, I remembered when the belt was, when you were going to give me the belt, so I remember that it was going to be later.
Yeah, we were in that range. Technically, with the kids, every 8 classes they get a stripe because that would represent coming to 2 classes a week for a month, and so that's you know, and so anyway, so was it no a white belt, and then it goes every 16 classes because it's every 2 months for a stripe. Because I don't want to get fucking crazy. I don't want like 12 stripes on the belt. It's like I think 4 white stripes and then a red stripe and then the next one's your belt. Because that's technically the 6 promotions, right? And so that's a year, which is what the kids' belts are supposed to be, is like spaced out a year apart. And so, so anyway, so the kids know.
They kind of know.
And I don't mind because they get motivated, man. They see like,
Well, that's part of the reason for it.
yeah. They're like, oh, I'm on class number 6. You know, like they know around like class 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there, they're gonna get a stripe. So he knew his belt was coming up. That's why I was like, look, even if you're on class number 8, man, and you have a tough class and you don't have a good attitude, like you're not guaranteed your belt. It's not like a stripe. Like belts are different than stripes. I need to see you have have a good attitude, and he did. You know, it's jiu-jitsu's frustrating. It's frustrating for fucking adults.
It's frustrating for me. I have many days, even rounds.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I should have done this. I
Tough
should
to
have
have
done
a good
that.
attitude.
But why is that dude smashing me?
the crap out of me. Yes.
Oh yeah,
So-
dude. It's not an easy thing, man.
No.
It's not like sitting down and watching TV, playing video games.
No. So, anyways, all right, man, we're done talking. You're here. You're ready. You ready to give us the Pokemon update? We gave the Z update.
Wait. I thought that I already gave it.
No,
we started talking.
We just started talking.
We didn't even let you talk.
It's 5 minutes, 16 seconds into it already.
I know, man. People are pissed.
We had people tuning in just for the Pokemon update, and they had to listen to us babble on.
Sorry.
No.
Excuse my dad and my dad's friend.
Yeah.
All right, you ready, man?
Yes.
What's the Pokemon update today?
A Machamp EX.
Ooh, Machamp. He's got a bunch of arms.
He has 4 arms.
Oh.
His attacks are Steaming Mad, which does 20 plus damage.
I like that one.
And Crazy Hammer, which does 80 plus damage.
Mm.
And this little thing on the bottom is just a Pokemon EX roll.
Okay.
It's a Shiny Star Rare.
Oh, wow, okay. That's a cool kind.
Mm-hmm.
What kind? Has got any weaknesses?
2 Psychic types, which do 20 more damage, and it has no resistance.
Okay. What type is it? Is he a ground type? Or?
Yeah, he's a ground type, which does 1, and he has 180 hit points. I was gonna say that a ground type does 180 hit points.
Yeah. So do you think someone with 4 arms would be... Would that be harder to wrestle? Or would it be easier to joint lock them? How would you look at that?
I think it would be harder because what if he was using what if he was Steaming Mad or using Crazy Hammer?
Does he have legs?
Yeah.
Also, so he has legs.
You can ankle lock him too.
So he has 4 arms and 2 legs.
But
He's got
what if he-
6 limbs that you can joint lock.
That's pretty tough.
But what
It is
if
pretty tough.
That'd be pretty tough to deal with.
It would be, man.
what if he
trying to
was
be
using
positive.
Crazy
Pretty tough to
Hammer? Then
Well, then I would say, hey, we don't hit in jiu-jitsu. Stop that.
You're not following
no, what
the
if
rules.
it was wrestling?
Well,
Like-
you don't hit in jiu-jitsu. You don't hit in wrestling.
No, like
Listen, if you're in a
UFC,
Pokemon battle, then that would be
UFC.
different.
what if like in UFC?
What if you're in a Pokemon UFC and somehow you found yourself fighting him?
With 4 arms? That'd be tough.
Yeah, I'd be...
Because he can hold you down with 2 hands and punch you with the other 2 hands.
I'd try to talk you out of it. So, unless you had some crazy power that we don't know about.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, we got one more question for you. Would you rather have 4 legs or 4 arms? What do you think would be a better skill?
4 arms, because if I had my legs chopped off, I could just walk with them.
That's true.
But with 4 legs, you could run really fast. Think how fast dogs are.
That's being like a fucking centaur.
Yeah.
But
I think I'd want to be a centaur.
if I
Centaurs don't have arms.
They do. It's upper body.
I thought they just said
Oh,
they had like
human.
an upper torso. They had horse legs.
they
But
got
do they have arms?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
They got arms.
Yeah,
Because they're famous for like their archery skills.
that's right.
Chiron was the hero trainer for Hercules and all the other...
I don't know,
great
man.
heroes.
4 legs would be pretty sweet. You'd be pretty
no,
strong and fast.
but if I wanted to
It's
run
true, man.
really fast, I could just get on my arms and just.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. Centaurs are pretty formidable. I may have to rethink that.
I don't know. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
You'd have to analyze it. You'd have to have a pros and
Yeah.
cons list.
Well, we'll think about that, and we'll get back.
How's school going, man?
Good.
Yeah, he's got his neck gaiter, so he gets to dress up like a ninja for school.
Sweet.
You know, aka wear a mask. But they're in class, man. They're doing it.
Still doing it.
Yeah.
How long have they been in school now for? A month, roughly?
It's been about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been going good.
It's good. Bet you it's fun to be back playing with your friends,
It is.
learning cool stuff.
Yep. Especially now the fire's out and he's not out sucking up soot and ash
I know,
everywhere.
man. I was bad there for a couple weeks, man.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
All right, dude. Thanks for the Pokemon update. I think you look like you're about done. You got a cool Mr. Freeze gun that you made, which I like.
I didn't make it. It came with the Lego set.
All right.
Sweet.
Well, cool. Well, you and Mr. Freeze and Machamp, go listen to your mother and be good.
Man.
All right, on that note.
Maybe.
Oh, Ajax wanted out this whole time.
All right, see you, buddy.
All right.
There you go.
Starting times.
Pokemon update.
Life of a 7-year-old.
Yeah. It's funny, man. Taking him to school, it's a kind of an eerie experience because there's two things going on. One, there's a lot of people who opted for online learning. So there's a lot fewer people with kids in school, period. And then they opened up another elementary school because like they were starting to, like they needed it. They had so many kids at Rimrock, like it was getting too full. And so you have a smaller pool of kids and then you split them up between two schools. And like taking him to school now, it's like, it's not unbusy, but it compared to how it was a fucking zoo. Mm-hmm. Like the bike rack was just stuffed with bikes and just cars everywhere and people everywhere. And now you go and it's like, it's a little, like I said, it's almost kind of eerie. It's like there's so fewer people than there were. You're like, man, what's wrong? And like I said, the other elementary school has a big part of it, but there is just that element of like, you know, we are sitting here with the coronavirus. There are a lot of people who aren't. He's got to wear a mask to school, and you know, all the teachers have masks on and all this stuff, and it's an interesting experience.
How many kids are in his classroom? Do you know?
About 15.
That's it, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, that's good.
That's good. I mean, you get more teacher attention that way.
Yeah.
It's good for the kids.
It is good for the kids, but it's interesting like how many people opted for the online learning. And it's like, you know, what was the motivation there? Is it like, you know, easier for you because you don't have to take them. You don't have to take them and pick them up and all that stuff, or is it really better for the kid? So I think there are some kids who do better, you know, with the online learning stuff. But man, the biggest point of school, I mean, at least for me, for the first few years, is the social aspect. Mm-hmm. It's more like learning how to deal with other human beings. And so taking that out and saying like, oh no, well, we're technically covering the education side of it, but we're completely missing the socialization aspect of it. Like that's interesting. That's weird to me. I don't know. I'm gonna be curious to see what the ramifications of that are. Down the road.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
They're basically being homeschooled.
They're being homeschooled.
That's what it is.
Like homeschooling is way more prevalent nowadays, and there's a lot more, like if you do homeschool your kid or they do a blended thing like, you know, like Shiloh does, mm-hmm. There's a lot of opportunities for them to get out and still do the social, the sports, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In normal times, you know, not pandemic times or whatever. But, you know, like when you and I were growing up, you would only come across these homeschool kids once in a great while. Like where I was from anyways. And you would run into them. Like I was in karate class as a kid or whatever it was, or you know, some soccer team, and every once in a while you'd have some homeschool kid show up and do the activity, and they were always a little off because they hadn't been socialized as much.
Yes.
They just, you know, it's just a matter of fact.
I was homeschooled 4th and 5th grade.
Were you?
Yeah, and it definitely, I mean, I think I'm just a little off in general. Socially, it's not my strongest, skill set. But that didn't help me at all, for sure, man. Being out of school for 2 years and having very limited contact. Like, we would do, for us, it was church. Like, my dad, and that's one of the reasons that I was being homeschooled, because he was going to preaching school. And, like, he was fucking balls deep and all this stuff. Like, there was a time when he was like, oh, we're done celebrating Christmas because it's just a fucking pagan holiday that they, you know, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we had a year where it was like no Christmas, and that was one of the
so
reasons.
So your dad, sorry to interrupt, I just the more you get to know people, you get these little backfill in things. So your dad was kind of a little extreme with things, kind of like you are. How when you get into something, you're like, you get into something.
Oh yeah,
and
you don't do it half-assed.
Your old man was the same way.
Yeah, man. Once you get into a rabbit hole, man, you just see how deep that motherfucker goes.
That's hilarious.
So,
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. But that was it. Like, once he decided, like, man, I'm into this religion thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't just go to church.
No, you're in it.
You become a fucking preacher. And so it's like, oh yeah, how do I become a preacher? It's like, okay, well, I got to go to preaching school. And so, well, we're going to go to preaching school. And so now he's in preaching school at the fucking Sunset School of Preaching in fucking Lubbock, Texas, man. So I lived there for a couple years, and which is like smack dab in the middle of Panhandle, Texas. Like, yeah, you're familiar with Texas. Yeah, it's fucking... I remember dust storms rolling through, man. Like, everybody come inside. You can see the giant fucking cloud of dust moving this way. It's, dust storm. It's like, it's crazy. There's nothing out there, man. And, but yeah, I got pulled out for, I don't know, he said I had problems. I don't remember like having problems like fights and stuff. I remember just like normal stuff with kids, but I think it was more, the pulling me out of like the secular influence of school, and they're teaching them evolution and all this shit, and so they got a good Mennonite based curriculum. I know a shit ton about the Mennonites, dude, because like all the school stuff was around like you would have it was a curriculum made for Mennonites, and so it was all based around like their culture. And so they would all the problems and stuff, and it was just a weird insight into another culture from my kitchen table as I'm learning my math and English and stuff. And so but yeah, it was not good for me socially, but we had church, so I did have some interaction with kids and stuff. But man, I remember even then, he pulled me out of like the regular class, and I was in I was in like 4th, 5th grade, and I was in with like the junior high and high school kids. Cause I was pretty fucking smart.
Right, like your church class?
Yeah. Cause I've always been, I don't know.
Pretty smart.
Yeah. I start reading shit. I remember things. It's like, it doesn't take long for me to start figuring things out. And so, yeah, like intellectually, like I was more advanced than my peers. But again, like socially, I didn't belong with these fucking high school kids. And so yeah, like both places there, I was getting, it was weird like how it was like the whole social aspect wasn't even thought of. And I remember coming back into school and just being like, fuck dude, this isn't good. Like what happened?
And that was before you said 4th grade and 5th grade?
Yeah, it was like the end of 5th grade or like 6th grade, somewhere in there when I went back into school. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. So I was one of those weird homeschool kids for a couple of years, but it is a totally different experience now. Like then, like I said, like we had to find fucking Mennonite books. Like that's like that's how you had that was what your choices were. They were super limited. It wasn't a totally normal thing. So yeah, now you got online stuff and all sorts of things. But if you're not thinking about that and you're just looking at the technical side of like, oh yeah, they're learning their ABCs and they're covering the technical side of the education, and they're missing that social side. That's not good. That's
so much. Like, dude, basically, like elementary, man. Like kindergarten through really like 5th and 6th grade, you're starting to learn some math that it will be useful later on in life.
Yeah.
But dude, still the big majority of it is just the social. Learning how to deal with your friends. Learning how to deal with assholes.
Yeah.
Learn how to deal with authority figures and everything.
Yeah, learn how to behave in public, how to have a schedule.
That's everything. Dude.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah. Yep. No, I know, man. And so it's going to be, like, if they're not having that. But what's funny, man, the flip side isn't good either, because we've talked before about how, like, too much socialization, like, you're at, like, high school, especially, by the time you get to high school, and you're there for fucking 8 hours or whatever it is, however long they're there, like, 90% of that time is filled with bullshit. You just it's over socialization, and you get like sucked into all these other things, and it's like the education becomes this little like backdrop thing to all the drama and shit unfolding, and it's too much, especially today, man, with like social media and just like how toxic the situations can get. And dude, you're talking to our a kid we both know is dealing with fucking bullies and fights and stuff at school. It's like, that's, I don't know, it's weird, man. It's too much.
It is too much. It almost seems like sending kids to half days of school, even in high school, would be better because you'd have to be more focused. Like, hey man, you're only at school instead of being here from 8 a.m. until 3:30 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
we're here 8 to noon, and the other half of kids are here noon to 3.
I think the hybrid model's perfect.
And pack what you need to learn in there. Yep. And online.
You need a limit. Like at some point, like I think that's the thing now. Like we need to use technology to limit the socialization because it gets toxic, and but to completely cut it off for a lot of kids, especially young kids, right? It's not going to impact like high school kids as much, but yeah, young kids who are, first, second, third grade, they miss a year or two of going to school and do virtual learning. Like
those are formative years.
Yeah, that's going to impact their social skills down the road. So it'll be, whatever, like all of it interesting to see.
It'd be interesting to see. Does Z have to do any online stuff, or is it all?
No, it's just all
school.
Yep, we're all just crossing our fingers, seeing how long it lasts. So far, it's been pretty good. We haven't had any major problems. Tim was saying at college, I guess, or at the university there was it like Thanksgiving break? They're just telling the kids like just stay home until the next semester, because they come back from Thanksgiving and like the time between that and like Christmas break is pretty short.
Weeks,
yeah, so it's like, man, just all that traveling back and forth, just minimize it. So
that makes sense. Because if kids go home at Thanksgiving, wherever they travel to in the country,
then they come back for a couple weeks, and then it's just stay where you're at. So that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But we're see where we end up, man. Everybody just kind of
do so much is just kind of waiting to see what happens in the election. It all depends on who gets elected, dude. That's gonna change. That'll have a drastic difference on how we proceed as a country afterwards.
Yeah.
Come November, what is it, 7th, 9th, 4th, whatever the election day is. Yeah, come November, man. None of us are gonna know what happened. Like, none of us can make a good guess as to what's gonna happen.
No.
Because I think if Biden or the Democrats get elected, like, this shit's just gonna kind of go away. You're not gonna hear anything about it. A lot of, but
it's enough to make a rational person like want to vote for him, even though it's a complete, like, you're not voting for him. You're voting for Kamala Harris or whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're saying. Something's gonna befall that dude in the first 6 months of his presidency, and like that's who they really wanted. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. Tulsi Gabbard like shot her down. She became like a non-viable option against Trump himself. But you put her in this situation, and she gets on with Biden, and then, like I said, like Biden's fucking, 1 foot out the door already.
Dude, he's 1 foot in the grave already.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. Like I'm standing behind that prediction 100%. I'll be shocked if that's not what happens if Biden gets elected. But who knows, man? It's it'll be fucking. I don't know. It's fucking irritating.
Yeah, dude. The world is upside down right now, man. We are getting so divided as a country too.
Yeah.
We generally do come the election year. You'll notice it more than others, but this one is different than all the other that we've experienced in our adult life. It's a different time.
Yeah, man. There's fucking do-gooders who are just playing with forces that they don't understand.
Yep.
I think that there's a lot of people with good intentions who don't really understand what they're doing by creating these divisions and the rhetoric and stuff on both sides. And I'm reading this book called Crucial Conversations, and it's all about how to have difficult conversations. And like when when the stakes are high, emotions are high, how do you broach these things? And these are psychologists, which is a branch of science, and they've studied this for like a long time. And what they were looking at is, there are people who can consistently handle these crucial conversations well, and most of us can't. Mm-hmm. And so, what's the difference? What are they doing that the rest of us aren't? And so by looking at it, you can pinpoint certain skills that you can use to improve your chances of having a productive conversation. And so this is based on science. And it is crazy. I'm reading this, and everything they're saying to do and everything they're saying not to do, like like the whole, like basically like the Black Lives Matter movement is doing exactly what they say not to do. If you want to have a crucial conversation with someone, you don't lead with emotion and you don't lead with accusations. You don't say you're a racist. You lead with the facts and you say, hey, here's what's happening. Now, from our point of view, here's what we think's going on. How do you see it? Right? Like that's how you have a conversation about it. But to come flying in and be like, white privilege, everyone's racist, systemic racism, it's like, that is the exact opposite.
As soon as people hear those things, they shut down.
Right.
When you lead with, when you assign meaning to what somebody's doing.
Yes.
Right off the jump.
Yes.
And that's
it's a story. You create a story in your head. That's what they talk about.
Yeah.
There's 3 stories that people fall back on. The victim story, the villain story, and the I'm stuck, I have no choice story. Like, and so like those are the stories but they're stories. Right? So it's like, well, what are the facts? And then you say, okay, well, like, and then you, yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, but that you can see where these 3 stories keep popping up over and over again, where people are an innocent victim. They have no hand at all in their current situation. It is just 100% someone else doing something to them. Or you got the villain, where you have someone who's evil. Like you have someone who is doing things because they are evil. Like this is where racist comes in, right? Like the reason this person's doing this is because he's a bad person. And then you have the like, I have no choice, where you're just stuck in a situation where you have no other option than to do what you're doing. And usually the 3 are kind of like blended together. But man, you can see where the conversation, it's so unproductive because we're just getting this story shoved down our throats, and we accept it or we're part of the problem. And it's like, wait a minute, man, like what are the facts? And like, well, what's, like your story isn't reality. That's just your fucking story. And we talk about this all the time. Like you control how you interpret things. Like fucking Shakespeare back in the day, like, nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
That's it.
It's it.
That's it right there.
It's it, man. So yeah, it's fucking maddening. The fucking science, like we know that how this is being handled is unproductive at best and destructive at worst. And yet there is no attempt by anyone in authority to like point this out and say, look, man, like we need to, especially like on their side, like saying, hey, if we really want to have a productive conversation with everyone, like we need to tone the fucking rhetoric down.
Yep.
And we need to start focusing on the facts and what we can do to address the facts of the situation, not our emotion and these like systemic racism. And it's like, how do you address systemic racism? Like, where are the facts for, like, I don't understand what that fucking means. Like, but if you come and you point out, hey, look, like, housing in this area, and, at one point they had like the red line where they wouldn't sell, and, it's like, okay, well, I can see like that's okay, but how do we address that? Right? Or it's like, well, I don't really see that as being systemic racism. Like, there's a lot of situations where it's economics, right? Like mountain biking is a good example. Like they're saying mountain biking is racist, but it's not. It's just, you got fucking $8,000 bikes you're trying to sell to people. It's economics. Who are you going to advertise to?
People that can afford your shit.
People that can afford your shit. And they're usually not people in poor areas, which are predominantly minority. And again, we can argue about why these people are there and all that stuff like that. But to say that a whole industry is racist because they don't have as many colored people as you would see in society, right? If there's not the same percentage of everything in there, and it's like, that's fucking madness. It is madness, and now we can't even address the real problems being had. I read this the other day. Man, I'm fucking sorry. I'm on.
No, go with it, dude. I'm sure I'm gonna get fired up here too, because this shit.
Dude, this is what I'll say this, and I'll let you comment, because I'm sure you're gonna have some fucking comments on this.
Yes.
I saw, and you may have seen or heard this. There was a councilwoman over on the Front Range, like Denver area, and she's a Latino woman, and she got in a bunch of shit because some lady, one of the other councilwomen was saying, like proposing abolishing the police force and establishing a peace force or some fucking nonsense. And she said something along the lines of, hey, I appreciate that. I support a lot of your initiatives, but a lot of what we're seeing is black on black violence and brown on brown violence. She's a Latino woman from these areas. Mm-hmm. Apparently you can't say these terms like black on black and brown on brown is now like hate speech and offensive. You have to say the term lateral violence.
Oh my God.
So here we are, a Latino woman who lives in these areas, who is trying to address the real problems in the area. Not that this isn't a problem, but there's also other problems. Not the real problem I'm saying, but right. The other problems, right? It's a multi-layered thing. Getting rid of the police and establishing a peace force isn't going to take care of this black on black and brown on brown violence. But instead of focusing on that, you had some obscure fucking group, man, but they got some platform on social media that allows them to start screaming to high heaven and, asking for her to be recalled and fucking threatening to have a protest at her house over her use of this term. And she had to like come out and be like, I apologize. This was a great opportunity for me to learn how these words, impact people. And, the terminology that I used was offensive and I recognize that now. And so this was a great learning opportunity for me to better understand how to express myself with these issues. And it was like, holy shit, man. That's so scary. And goddamn, what was her name? Was it Abigail Shire, the chick that Joe Rogan interviewed a while back on the transgender
thing,
the first one.
I know who you're talking about, but
yeah, but she said something that, man, it was just an offhanded comment, but man, it made me think like, dude, that was really profound. She said that social media has done more to stifle free speech than anything else. Mm-hmm. That's 100% true.
That is true.
Like, it's fucking crazy. It is stifling free speech because people are so afraid of the social media mob that they can't speak freely.
Can't express themselves freely.
No.
Even with good intent.
Yeah.
Like, just that lady. Yeah.
She's trying to help.
Not
offend people.
And it's not offend. I mean, she's just stating the facts. Like, hey, a good majority of black people getting shot or violent crimes is black on black crime. I didn't bring the stats in with me, but most of the time, dude, like if you or I are going to get shot, most of the time it's another white guy that's going to shoot us. Yeah. Most violent interactions happen, within a race.
Yeah, within your own kind of group.
Within your own group.
Yeah.
And the statistics prove that. Like you can, I know you can skew statistics and find studies to prove whatever you want, but man, that one right there, it's hard to skew. Like most of the time, man, it's interracial violence. Yeah, dude, but like you say,
intra,
not inter.
Yeah.
Intra. But to even say that nowadays is considered racist. Like, come on, man, it's not racist to say that.
Right.
It just look at the numbers.
Yeah. It's just a way to deflect from the real problem. But like I say, it's ironic because again, it's just another example of how irrational this entire thing is, which is like there is science behind how to have critical conversations like this. And right now, you could write a fucking textbook definition of how to not handle this by the rhetoric and shit coming out of the Black Lives Matters movement. And it's like man, on a moral level, like, do I want to get behind it? Like, yeah, like you would agree with if someone just said it's just the words, hey man, Black Lives Matter, right?
Of course they do.
Fuck yeah, they do. But that now that term means so much more, and it's because there is rhetoric coming from people who say that they represent that movement. Mm-hmm. And that rhetoric is largely like storytelling as opposed to fact telling. And then that's just not how you have conversations. And again, like maybe you're right. Maybe there is fucking racism in some cases. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're not seeing things fully. Like you don't understand, hey man, or whatever. But until you can enter a conversation with the initial thing, like, hey, this is what I know, this is how it makes me, this is what I think is going on, but I need to know what you think as well, so we can have a full picture of everything, and then we can discuss things from there. And we can say, what is our mutual purpose here? Right? Like, I think that's the other thing, is like, we can't arrive on a mutual purpose. Like, what is the mutual purpose? If the mutual purpose is for, like, you know, a society where people don't have to worry about interactions with the police based on their skin color,
who's going to disagree with that?
Who fucking disagrees with that? No one.
No one's going to disagree with that.
But that's not, you know, what they're saying is we want to tear the system down. And we're saying, well, we want to fix, you know,
fix cops. The system.
Yeah, we want to fix it, but it's we can't even agree on a mutual purpose because their purpose is so fucking, like, insane and, like, so you can't.
And it's so divisive.
It's so divisive.
And then people just want to go the other way hard.
Yeah.
Because there's no one in the middle.
Right.
Wanting to have those conversations. Like, listen, okay. Like you said, I mean, it's such a great point. And how to have conversations, those tough conversations with people. Like, okay, listen, this is what I see happening, and don't color it. Don't put your lens on it.
Right.
This is what I see happening. This is why I think it's happening, and this is how I see it going to go. What do you think? You know, what's your interpretation of it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you back up. Where are we trying to go? We all want to get to this point. But yeah, man, it's just all just casting stones right out the gate.
Yeah.
It's everything's just, you attribute everything. Yeah, just like we talk about it from a coaching standpoint, you know, teaching people jiu-jitsu. When you see somebody, when you're trying to give somebody a pointer in a match, like, hey, you know, I saw you doing this, and it's really easy. I catch myself doing it. I assume you were doing this, you know, framing this way because of this.
Right.
I assign meaning to what you were doing.
Yeah.
But if I was to say, hey, I think it might be, why were you doing this? Or I think it might be better to do this. It's a more productive conversation.
Yeah.
And a more productive way to help somebody. When you see, okay, I see you doing this. This is what I think. Why were you doing that?
Right.
And then once they explain why they were doing that, like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, you're trying, and then you figure out where they're trying to go. Okay, what's your goal? Why were you trying to do that? Okay, maybe you can get there this route. You know, maybe you can do this.
Yeah.
But when you just come at, like, hey, that was dumb. I saw you doing this.
Right, you see it through your, you tell your story,
yep.
And then you start coaching your story to them.
Yep.
It makes it more difficult.
It does.
Yeah.
You got to see what their story is, their interpretation of it.
In the book, they call it the shared pool of meaning. Mm-hmm. But that's basically what you want to get everybody to contribute to this pool of meaning, this you know, this base of understanding here, and then we can build on that. So, but no one's going to contribute if they don't feel safe. If they feel like if I say something, you're going to take it the wrong way and you're going to use it against me. Like, I'm just not going to say anything,
yep.
Or else I'm going to get real, like, hostile with it, and come firing at you first, assuming that you're going to come firing at me back. And neither one of those things are productive. So if people don't feel safe to contribute to this shared pool of meaning, then you can't have that conversation. And so that's why, like, you coming in and saying, like, you're a fucking racist. Mm-hmm. Guess who is like, well, okay, guess who's not contributing to that pool of meaning at this point?
Oh, I'm racist? That's it? All right.
Yeah. But it's like, hey, this is what we see. All right? So here's the first part of the pool of what we're putting out there. Now, this is kind of the reason we're assigning to it, the story we're telling. You know, here's some more meaning. Now, you know, what do you think? And then if you can contribute to it, like I said, exactly from, like, the coaching thing, because a lot of times you don't necessarily see, you don't feel the same thing. You think you do, but that's why it's important to ask people, like, you know, hey, this is what I saw, this is what it looked like you were doing to me, but, like, you know, what did you see? And then you can even be like, well, that's stupid fucking, you know, what I was telling you to do is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. Or, like, oh, I didn't know that. He had your fucking pant leg there and I didn't see that. And so yeah, that's basically the difference there. It's so much more productive, man, to have a conversation based on facts and then a story that you acknowledge could be partially wrong or completely true. But you're just, I want to know what you think. Mm-hmm. It's fucking way more productive.
What's the name of this book again?
Crucial Conversations.
I'm typing this in my phone right now. Sorry, this is going to be riveting podcast material here for a second. But
yeah. No,
sounds really good.
No, it's super good,
especially
man.
this day and age we're in right now. You know?
Well, you know what it boils down to is the advice that this fucking old carpenter gave a long time ago, don't judge. Like, only God can judge.
Crucial Conversations, Carrie Patterson?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Boom. All right, I got to pull it up. That way I don't forget it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, man. Only God can judge people's hearts. So you can address what people are doing, but to assign meaning to it, like, that's judging people, right? Like, hey, this is what you did. And now me saying, like, this is why you did it is me placing judgment on you. Mm-hmm. That's what judging people is. Saying that you did this because, of this. And that's exactly, like, at the fucking core of, the Christian faith is supposed to be, don't judge people. Only God can judge people. And again, it's not like addressing actions. That's where people get, it's not saying I don't know, judge the actions is the right word. It's like if somebody's doing something harmful or hurtful, you need to address that. But going so far as to say you're doing this because you're a racist or you're a bad person or you're an idiot or whatever, like, that's where you're going into the territory that God reserves for himself. And be careful, because how you judge other people is how he's going to judge you. And so again, it's like, it's just over and over and over again, man. Like, you don't fucking judge people. Don't judge people. It's bad for your soul. It's bad for your relationships with people. It's fucking bad to do. And that's all a lot of this shit is based on, man. As soon as you say systemic racism and racism, you're assigning a reason to why people are doing it. And you're saying, I am judging you. And it's like, fuck, man. You're not supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. And psychology bears it out. Religious practice bears it out. I'm sure you probably find similar teachings or whatever in a lot of religions, man. Like, in ours, it's Pimenta's fucking credo.
Worry about yourself.
Everybody would just worry about themselves. Everybody would get better.
Man, and dude, that's so true. Like, I'll preach that again and again. I even titled our episode a couple episodes ago, something about personal responsibility, or we talk about it all the time, but dude, it's so big, and that's just almost non-existent nowadays.
Yeah.
It's it's funny is I was watching Cobra Kai on Netflix. Have you started watching
I haven't started yet, man. It's on my list, dude. It's on my list.
You've got to fucking watch it.
All right. I'm on it.
I'm not going to give any spoiler alerts, but it's kind of cool how they twisted it, because back the original Karate Kid, Daniel-san was the good guy, Johnny was the bad guy, and that's the picture. Well, the new Cobra Kai is almost, it's coming from Johnny's standpoint. I mean, this kind of fits into our conversation perfectly now that I think about it. He's not this just big bully asshole in this one. Like, it's kind of showing like where he came from and his backstory and why he may have been portrayed as a jerk. But his view of it was like, well, this Daniel-son's kind of a dick. He was a bully. He came in, he beat me and my friends up at the party. He stole my girlfriend or whatever, you know what I mean? Right, yeah. But he's kind of like the anti-hero in this version of it. And it's funny is, so he opens up a school, and he's starting to teach people, and he gets all these kids coming in, and this one girl that comes in is pretty big and fat. And he is not politically correct, so that's part of why I really like his character in this show, because he just shoots, like, he talks like we do. Yeah. But in this day and age, it's like, oh shit, he's saying things to these fucking kids that come in, and he comments on this girl being fat, and his main student is like, oh well, you gotta be careful there, sensei. It's genetic. He's like, what? Did her dad love Twinkies too? Something to that effect. Yeah. God, it's so funny. Like, there's a whole conversation there. Like, she comes in because she's getting picked on at school, and he's like, well, that's what happened when you eat a box of Twinkies every day. You're gonna get fat and you're gonna get picked on. He's like, don't do that. He's like, well, sensei, that's genetics. She can't help that. What, is her love of Twinkies genetics? Stop eating them. Oh, dude, he's so funny in that show. But he says a lot. It's, he's focusing, he's teaching his Cobra Kai. Strike hard, strike fast, no mercy.
Pain does not exist
in this dojo. Yes. And it's so good. But he's focusing on that with his students, and he's like the anti-hero, like personal responsibility. Like, you don't want to get picked on by these assholes. Don't get fucking picked on by them. Take care of yourself. Be somebody that's not going to get picked on.
Yeah.
And that's just...
Change yourself.
Change yourself,
Can't change society, man.
No, you can't.
Yeah, that is it. Personal responsibility. The only person you can change is yourself. Focus on that. Again, don't...
It's amazing how far that goes. You know, I'll have to show you this text on my phone yesterday. So yesterday I was at work, and I had this delivery for this guy here in town, and I get this message from dispatch from my boss. It says, "Hey, heads up. We had some problems with this customer on the phone. He was threatening all the women in the office the other day to the point to where we locked our gates and we called the cops. And they sent me on this delivery. Like, this guy was just being belligerent, threatening. They literally secured our facility and called the cops because of the threats he was saying over the phone. And they sent me out to deliver to this guy, which...
Right.
Okay, wait a second. If this is happening, why does that even... You know, in my eyes, like, why would that delivery even go out? If this guy's being that threatening...
Oh, yeah, as soon as the cops have to get called, like, you're not a customer anymore.
Your stuff is at our facility.
Yeah.
You can come pick it up. We're going to have law enforcement here.
Yeah.
And
that's it. For sure.
Yeah, but no, that wasn't the course of action. We can have that different conversation, but they send it with me, which I guess it kind of makes sense because, okay. So I show up. So I've been warned. I show up. And, I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant here, but I don't put out I'm not the first person you're probably going to pick on.
Right,
Generally, if you see me. You know, I'm a confident person. You know, some people call me cocky or whatever, but I hold myself with confidence. And I approach this guy polite as polite can be. You know, professional, polite. And dude was super nice. You know, he could see right, he was just looking at me. And this guy was, my height, maybe a little taller, but chubby, soft. Like, dude, I'll slap the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Like,
people on the phone are a little...
It's easy to be a telephone tough guy.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm bringing the story up not to pat my own back, but just to say, like, if you take care of yourself and you're strong and healthy and confident, people sense that. And you're not going to be the first person they fuck with.
No.
Just bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still going to be people out there. I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not the toughest guy out there. There's a lot of people that are going to fight. And there's a lot of people that might look a little chubby and soft like that. They're going to fuck me up.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not foolish to that.
No, I know what you mean,
you know
though.
What I'm saying?
But even then, it's like...
Take care of yourself,
yeah, predators who are people who are like, looking for
the weak
trouble.
Yeah.
They look for the weak. Yeah. You're not going to pick out the strongest in the herd to take
if you want
down.
to rob somebody or pick somebody, like, you want an easy time.
Yeah, if you're trying to make yourself feel better.
Most of the time, criminals or bad people, violent, or lazy.
Yeah.
They want the path of least resistance. They're not going to go after the person that's going to give them the most trouble.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's just, So if you build yourself into someone who is a little stronger than average, a little better than average, then odds are you're not going to have to...
Your life's going to be a little bit better.
A little bit better, yeah. Yeah.
But dude, that's not... It's so frustrating. We just beat the dead horse on here, but that is not talked about in our society. Like, you were talking about these crucial conversations and not skewing things with your story. Dude, man, we need a leader, a politician, somebody with a really large platform to get up and say these things.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we don't get that. Because it's not rocket science. You and I aren't...
Dude, there's fucking morons. We've got, again, like Trump, I don't think he's evil. People say what you want. He's not the fittest, smartest motherfucker on the planet.
No, man.
You know what I mean? He's even got this weird thing, like, I'm not going to exexercise because I've only got so much energy or whatever. Again, who even knows if that's really true, or if it's some fucking made-up thing. I've never heard him say it. But he's not the guy who's going to be looking at, like, no, we really got to be driving this agenda of personal responsibility and getting people to fucking stop eating junk food and, working out. I mean, this thing has been going on for, what is it? It started in March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So we're going into like the 7th month. We've been like 6 solid months of this shit.
It's crazy.
Dude, if someone had started in the first couple months of taking better care of themselves, by this point, like, there would be a significant difference.
They'd be a healthier, stronger
We could
person.
be a stronger, healthier nation right now.
Yep.
If we had been addressing this from the beginning and encouraging people and having a fucking focus on, man, this is what you do to help with this COVID-19 thing, is you take personal responsibility, you turn yourself into the kind of person who is going to be way less likely to end up in the hospital and put strain on the system than, and this is how you do it, right? Like just back in fucking World War II, where it's like you go out and you collect tin cans. Like this is what you do to contribute to the cause. Everybody has something they can do. No, they're saying, you know what you do to contribute to the cause? Stay at home and sit on your couch and order fucking junk food, or, you know, all the shit that stays open while you watch Netflix on TV.
Yep.
Like that's what people were told is your role in helping with this.
Yep. I even saw a statement from Dr. Fauci the other day, and it didn't get a lot of press because, again, it's going to upset people. But he was talking about herd immunity because there was another doctor that like Trump brought in, and he gets politicized again. But this guy is kind of preaching about herd immunity. Like, man, look, we have some examples here. Communities didn't lock down, so on and so forth. But I believe it was Fauci said something to the effect that, like, you know, yes, that would be a good option. But
I saw this.
But like, we have so many vulnerable people in our society that's maybe not a good option.
We didn't even say, he straight up said, like, we have so much fucking obesity and diabetes, and like he fucking just straight up said, like, we have so much of this in our society that the death rate would be unacceptable.
Yep.
That was his quote. Yeah. No, I remember I was fucking floored by that. I was like, so again, it's not that we couldn't do it, it's that we have a population that is so unhealthy that it would make it unacceptable to do from just a moral standpoint.
Dude, God, man, I guess just thinking about this stuff really frustrates me, man. It's just because it's not super tough. It's not rocket science, man. That, God damn it, why don't we have a leader that just says, okay, everybody pump the fucking brakes, man. Let's stop taking sides. Let's look at facts and just look at numbers. And let's all come to us. Let's all figure out where we're going. Hey, we probably all want kind of the same thing.
I don't know. Again, I don't think we do. Because you have one side that just wants Trump out of office. They're so fucking blind with rage at that motherfucker.
But they're not thinking past that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Right? Like the shared purpose, like what is our goal, right? What are we working towards here? And again, this is where we're running into these giant problems, is you have one side whose goal is to get Trump out of office. That's it. It's it. Like any collateral damage is acceptable because it is so important to get this motherfucker out of office that anything else that you, like, the ends justify the means. Like, dude, what do you do with that? And that's what you see. Like, that's what you see, especially from like the media and these fucking activist groups. It's insane, the shit. And
it's so insane. We got dogs going crazy out there.
Oh. I think Shelly's getting ready to take them for a walk, so they might get crazy.
Yeah, dude, it is, man. It's maddening, it's frustrating. And just in this, all the different media outlets, how much they skew stuff. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize it and starting to trust them less and less. But just how they skew things, man. It just, on both sides.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. You know, every day when you hear some sort of news source, I could pick out examples every fucking day on how they twist facts to fit their narrative. And it's not healthy. It's not productive. And it's every day a little wedge gets drove into our society, just more and more and more. And dude, something's going to boil over and break.
Yeah.
And what is that? What does that mean exactly? I don't know. Like, where's it going? Who knows? But, God damn it, man.
God damn it.
It is, dude. It's so... I'm putting, a lot of the... Again, why don't we have a leader that's saying this kind of shit? I don't know. That's super frustrating to me. But, man, big blame I put on is these big media outlets, man. Like, your ABC News is your... So on and so forth. Like, they have such a huge platform, and they're choosing to... And it's a big power. And they wield it just to fit their own agenda.
Well, it's social media, man. Because they write things for social media. Because if you get the article that gets tweeted and retweeted 1,000 times, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you're looking for. And so you're creating news with social media in mind. which again is stifling free speech. It was really weird, man. When I started thinking about it, I was like, fuck, like the internet did more to open up free speech than anything since like the printing press. Mm-hmm. And then social media came along and has done more to suppress free speech than, fuck, dude, I don't know. I don't know what has been more powerful and effective at suppressing free speech than social media has been. And, you know, because, like, you can put up a website on just anything you want on the internet. Like, that's free speech. It can be as uncomfortable as hell. There's gnarly shit out there. But you can talk about it. With social media, you can just put, like, you know, hey, Trump said hydrochloroquine or whatever fucking works. And you run the risk of having that flagged or pulled off of a social media platform because that is deemed as misinformation about COVID-19 or whatever. And so, like they're suppressing free speech like crazy. And you get these little micro organizations. Like I said, the organization that threatened the councilwoman, never heard of these motherfuckers before. All they needed to do was get on Twitter and start tweeting about this and fucking stoking people up. And that's all it took. You know, it didn't take an intelligent leader with a good organization that stood for something, that had built a base of people who were ready to act on something. Like, that's a good organization. You get these fucking fringe organizations. Like, who the fuck is this? All they got to do is whip a crowd into a frenzy, a Twitter crowd into a frenzy, though, and all of a sudden they're legitimate, and you got to take their shit seriously. Like, this fucking poor lady had to engage with these idiots because of the Twitter crowd. Forced her to have to recognize these fucking morons. Yeah.
And they didn't deserve to be recognized.
Didn't deserve to be recognized. No. Social media has done way more. Dude, it's fucking nuts. Like, it's really, like, got me... I have to get off of it. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't... It's a weird thing. But I don't get on it. Like, I don't look at it anymore. I don't really engage with it anymore.
You can't, dude. It's not healthy.
No.
It has gone to... I mean, I've talked about it a million times. Even before we've got into this upside down place, I've preached it's not healthy. You know, we all know it's not. But now it's even worse.
Yeah.
It is so toxic.
Yeah.
It's not good for you in any shape.
It's fucking terrible shit. Well, anyways, let's talk about something that's good for you.
What about guns? Want to talk
Guns?
about guns?
I'll show you this real quick.
What's this
Talk about some guns. This is the fucking foot core system.
The foot core?
Yeah, Freo. Freo. They're like, you're supposed to get on them and do so you can balance like your foot in different positions. And
do some exercises.
Yeah, it strengthens. It's supposed to strengthen like the ball of your foot and your arch. It's for runners, mainly. And so my buddy Mark had been checking it out, so I was checking it out.
What's your interpretation of it so far?
Man, it's interesting when I do. So these 3 moves, you hold these for like, you know, foot forward, and then foot with the big toe up, and then foot with the big toe down. Mm-hmm. And then you do each of those for a minute on each foot. And, man, it definitely, you can feel like when you start walking around, like your foot is definitely engaging with the ground a little bit differently, a little bit better. And for me, my left foot is messed up from years of riding small pedals on mountain bikes because I ride right foot forward, so my left foot was back. And so that was my main support leg. And riding small pedals, your foot starts to develop these weird ways of like stabilizing itself. And so this has actually felt like it's helping to retrain my foot to stabilize better. Yeah, you can use like some poles or something to help. Yeah, and if you do it not on carpet, you have to balance it. Yeah. So yeah, he's got like a whole... I think that I probably would have been fine instead of like getting this circular one here too, like just getting the that board right there. Mm-hmm. But I know this is fascinating for an audio podcast, but I just want to show Rob my new
toy,
my new workout toy that I've been playing around with.
Interesting. I can see some benefit to that.
For runners, yeah, the thing too I can see is because it has you stabilizing your foot in these different
planes.
These different positions. And that's one of the reasons the guy who came up with this was one of the guys who is talked about in Born to Run, like one of the barefoot running coaches or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so it's designed to get your foot to be able to articulate, because that's one of the reasons that people sprain their ankle is because their ankle is stiff, right? It's not mobile where it can stabilize in different positions. It just gets stiff, and then it just takes the slightest little thing to roll your ankle. And so, getting your foot able to stabilize in different positions. But I was even thinking too, man, like for jiu-jitsu, because one of the things that people struggle with, especially at first, is learning how to use the balls of their feet to drive and create pressure, like in side control in different positions. And it feels like your feet are getting like engaged better. So, because it's one of the reasons people struggle with it is they don't have, it's a skill. Right, like the ball of their foot isn't super strong to begin with, and so they don't really know how to like drive pressure through the ball of their foot effectively. And so, anyways,
interesting.
Yeah, interesting little tool.
How long have you been using that for now?
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
I got Shiloh trying it before she goes running. This fucking fly is gonna get fed to Wolfie.
There's a couple of them flying around in here.
I know.
You guys still got Wolfie?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Wolfie's doing good. Still feeding her. I keep wanting to call it a him just out of habit. But
you guys named her Wolfie.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of leads you to calling her calling her boy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and then guns. So you're doing some gun courses.
So exciting, yes. We've talked about it on here. I got into shotguns, shooting trap and stuff. And obviously still doing that. But then now I bought a handgun. Because it's fun. That's one reason. Two, we've talked about for the first hour of this podcast, like society's in a weird fucking place, man. Are they gonna come try to take your guns? Who knows? But it's a right that we have in this country, and I want to exercise it. And it's a valuable tool to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And so I bought a handgun. Now I'm going to be a responsible handgun owner. I already got one training class signed up for next 2 weeks from today. By the time you guys hear this, a week from today. It's called Defenders USA. It's a defensive tactical handgun course. It's a 3-day course, 2.5-day course here in town. One of my buddies, Adam Winch, teaches it. It's his company. He's your typical kind of former Army / cop, / private security type. He's got a pretty interesting history and background.
Yeah.
A lot more experience with that kind of stuff than I do.
Right.
Because when it comes to handguns, I am a white belt.
Yeah.
Because that's a... Dude, a handgun is to me, that's a big decision. It's not just a decision you make willy-nilly to purchase a handgun and if you're going to carry it. We have the ability here in Colorado. We can open carry if you want. You don't have any sort of fucking license. You can just put a holster on your hip and carry that thing around. Which, there's varying opinions of that, whether you should or should not do that. That's up for debate. That's a whole other conversation. But, you can also get your CHP, I think it's called out here, it's concealed handgun permit. Mm-hmm. And, other places it's called a CCW or some shit. But, so we have that once you get, and it doesn't take a ton of training to get one of those. The training I'm going to accomplishes that task, but it's way more than that also, go above and beyond. So, but yeah, dude, that's a big decision, because if you ever get to the point in a self-defense situation to where you have to you feel the need to pull a firearm, your life has changed from that point on. Bottom line. Because, if you're carrying a gun and you have it out in public and you feel the need to pull that gun, in my eyes, that gun shouldn't come out of your holster unless you're ready to take somebody's life.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking decision. And then from there, if you take somebody's life, not only psychologically you got to deal with that, legally, it's not just going to be you were threatened, you take somebody's life, and in this day and age, okay, cool. So you get to go home. No, man, you're going to end up in court. Your life is going to change from there on out. It's going to be, that's a big financial cost. You're gonna have to have lawyers and court fees and all this other shit. And then, it's a big decision, man. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't take that. I think they might take it too lightly in my eyes. I don't want to be that guy that takes it too lightly. So I got that course coming up, and I'm also taking Tim Kennedy's Sheepdog Response course. That's next May. It's not for a while.
Yeah.
So that looks exciting.
Yeah.
Because that's defensive handgun tactics. But it's also just his sheepdog response. His mantra is be the sheepdog, protect the herd. Protect your family and friends from the wolves, from the predators out there.
Yeah.
Be somebody that's hard to kill. So it's well rounded. We're going to be in there doing jiu-jitsu, with weapons, shooting, first aid, in case something does go sideways. It's a whole teaching you to be a protector of the herd. So man, that'll be fun. Nate's going with me, our buddy Nate.
Yeah.
I talked him into it. I seen it come across my email. I was like, Nate, I'm thinking about doing this, and it's, discounted this weekend, like 25%, because that's not a cheap course.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck yeah. He's like, let me talk to Amy, talk to those old ladies. And then he came, he's like, let's do it. So we signed up.
Man.
We'll be doing that next fall. Or next spring, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's what I got going on now.
It's fucking nice.
It's a good rabbit hole to go down. It's such a valuable skill to have.
Right, yeah.
And why not? We are afforded the right here in this country to do it. Exercise it.
That's true, man.
Protect it. The world's upside down right now, man. I plan on going the rest of my life never have to use it.
Yeah.
But if I have to, I want that option.
Yeah.
That's my new rabbit hole.
Sheepdog response.
That looks fun, dude.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah. You go around shooting stuff, wrestling with each other. So.
Fuck yeah. Guy stuff.
Yep.
Guess girls can go.
Get out there playing G.I. Joe for the weekend, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, with good old Tim Kennedy. He's a
madman. Yeah, he was a madman.
That'll be cool, just hanging out with him for a weekend.
Yep.
Seeing what that's like. So, well, cool.
So that's been my new obsession lately, is looking up, because he has some virtual training on his Sheepdog Response website, teaching you, just basics. Mm-hmm. Just like jiu-jitsu, you gotta learn your basics. You gotta start somewhere, you know what I mean? So he's got there's a lot of different training out there. So it's a matter of, this day and age, it's, information overload for the most part. So you gotta
just pick something,
go with it, and just start educating yourself. That is a good thing. I've been listening to hours and hours of gun podcasts now. Of course, I had, and getting different views and opinions on things, and training platforms and things you should and shouldn't do. And it's a great time we live in, just for that, the access to information.
Being
able to educate yourself properly.
Yeah. You take social media out of it, and the fucking internet has some good value.
There's some great value.
Great value. You can definitely learn a lot.
So that's what I'm doing now, man. I got myself a 45.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'll have to. I know it's still on my list of stuff to do.
Get it going, dude.
Yeah.
You got discouraged. You had a little stupid experience with some knuckleheads at Sportsman's here. I think it kind of salted you a little bit, but
it's just it killed my momentum, so I just have to get my momentum going again. And I think I'm gonna take a look at that route we were talking about. Our buddy Adam, who I believe has one of those FFL license randomly, so I may be able to work with him to.
And I'll show you after we get done recording here. Because you can buy firearms online. They don't get sent to your house. You got to have someone with a federal firearms license. They get sent to that person.
Yeah.
And then they do the background check.
Right.
And they do the license transfer and submit all the paperwork to the ATF, all that good shit. That's how it's done. It's
basically like what you're doing at the store. When you go to the store.
Sport, like a Cabela's or Sportsman's, they have... I don't know how it works, whether the store itself has an FFL or if it's one individual in that store has an FFL, but I don't know.
I'm sure they got a store one.
I'm sure they do. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
But
let's look it up right now. No, I'm kidding.
But, so that's how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really realize how that worked. You know, you just think like, oh, I got to go in the store to buy a gun.
Nope.
And then it's like, and then okay, what's the purpose? Oh, they have this license, and there's other people who have this license, and you can just work with them and not have to deal with the whole fucking knucklehead at the counter misunderstanding the first thing you said and just not letting you go back to what you first wanted. So, yeah, no, it's still on my list. I think, I'll have to check that out because it sounds a lot easier. Just having to go into town, fucking go deal with people.
No, and you can educate yourself so much just online. Do your own research, okay? And when you start getting into guns, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like jiu-jitsu, you know, or really anything. You know, when you first get into something, it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot of info, and you get people that are really into it.
Yeah.
And they get excited, and you start asking them questions, and they just start vomiting information on you, and it's like, oh shit, you know, let's back up here, man. I'm just a fucking new guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your first day walking into jiu-jitsu, and somebody's trying to teach you a barimbolo or something. Like, okay, they
which we've seen.
Yeah, like, okay, let's back up. And so you really just got to pick. You got to, you know, make up your mind that you want to purchase a firearm. Why do you? And they're a tool. Okay, what application? Why do you want it? You know, like for what purpose? And then you do some research. Okay, I would like one for this purpose. What's the best tool for that? You know, because there's a lot of different types of guns out there, and they're just like a tool, man. Just like a hammer, a screwdriver, a pry bar.
Yeah.
They all have their purpose. So you got to educate yourself on, okay, what is going to be the best for this purpose? Boom. Okay, that starts it out. Then you go down that road. Then you just start following that path. Okay, so I want a firearm for this purpose. Here's the type of guns that fill that role, and then you start research. Okay, because then once you get to that far, you're okay. What brands? What kind of gun do I want? Because then it gets expensive. You know, you can spend thousands of dollars a gun, or you can spend $150. Okay, well, what's my price range?
Right.
You know, what am I willing to spend? It's a safety thing too. You don't want to buy just some bullshit made in China. Not my opinion, but you know, so then you got to do some research there, and then narrow it down.
Yeah.
And it's not just like you make the decision and you go buy one. I mean, you can, obviously, but it's going to be a hasty decision, and you'll probably regret it. You got to do a little research. So.
Yeah, well, and then you have the buddy who's done some research.
That
was your thing. You got into it. You didn't really have anyone.
Nope.
You talked to Nate some. He led you in the direction of the first shotgun you got.
Yes, the first shotgun I got. You know, so you have somebody in your life, a friend that can help you out, kind of get you started.
Just kind of get you going, in the right direction.
Get you going in the right direction, so you're not just floundering.
Yeah.
And then from there, you just take it on yourself.
Yeah.
Start educating yourself. Start fucking reading, man.
Yeah.
Start listening to the podcast or YouTube videos, reading articles.
All right. Well, I'll have to work on that. Yeah. Maybe next podcast I'll have a gun on the way.
Sweet. I hope you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think you should get one, man.
I know. It's so funny. I think about that shit though, man. It's like, you know, the only situation that would be optimal is like if I feel like I needed to pull it out and like I had a gun and they didn't. Because like I really don't want to get in a fucking firefight.
No.
You know what I mean?
When you don't draw, like if you're in a situation where somebody already has a gun drawn on you, listen to them.
You know what I mean? Like,
listen to them. You're not going to draw on a drawn weapon.
Right.
They're going to be quicker to the trigger than you are.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if you're thinking about, okay, what scenarios am I really going to need a gun? Right? And so, and it's like, and then, and they are kind of limited. You know, really, like there's a lot, there's a bajillion iterations of them.
Right.
But it's pretty limited, right? Like, and one of them is you have someone who is, who doesn't have a gun, who is threatening you in a way that you feel like you need to defend your life.
Yep.
Or you have someone who has a gun, who is threatening you in a way that you feel like you need to defend your life. Like it's
about it.
It's about it.
Is your life threatened?
Right. Is your life threatened?
Is your life or your family's life threatened?
Right.
Your loved ones.
Yes.
That's it. That's the first question you have to answer.
Yeah. So if you feel like that's going on, and then it falls into two categories. And like I said, the best case scenario is like, well, I've got a gun and you don't, motherfucker. Like this is going to de-escalate the situation quickly. Mm-hmm. The other one is, well, they have a gun, and then the situation can escalate quickly.
Very quickly.
And again, and it's like, well, you know, if not pulling a gun is even an option, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm still going to get a gun. I'm just saying, like, when you're thinking about these things, it's like, fuck, man, like, what should I do, right? Like, there's some intruder, and for some reason I feel like I need to pull my gun out, and then I realize, like, oh, he's shooting back in the house.
Jesus Christ.
Right? Versus like, oh, I don't even have a gun. Somebody's trying to break in the house. We need to get the fuck out of here right now. And so, like, pulling a gun wasn't even an option. But then the other thing is he breaks in the house and he's got a gun and I got nothing. Right. And then it's like, so now I have no opportunity to defend ourselves. So that's like, the worst case scenario is I feel like my life's being threatened by someone with a gun or a weapon and I don't have something.
Right. Because, just because you have a gun doesn't mean you have to pull it and use
it.
You can still flee.
Right.
And I would say, I'm going to do that unless I can't.
Yeah.
That is going to be my first response.
Right. It's like jiu-jitsu, man. Your best self-defense is fucking running.
That's still, just because you have a gun doesn't mean that's still not the best option.
I know.
Flee. Get the fuck out of there if you can.
And that's why you got to train yourself how to react in those situations. So, like, doing these courses.
That's why
things like
important
that.
to do these courses, man.
Yeah.
Be a responsible gun owner. If you're gonna, that's why I got into trap shooting. Trap shooting's fun. I bought a shotgun. I started down that rabbit hole. I wanted a shotgun to protect myself, protect my house. Simple. I realized, like, hey, I need to learn how to use this thing. And to learn how to use it, you want to go out and shoot. Just to go out and shoot at milk jugs out in the desert, that's fun for about 5 minutes. You're like, okay, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
Oh, let's shoot at shit flying through the air. Let's get into trap shooting. That's a whole sport that teaches you how to be accurate and comfortable with a shotgun. Because there's a level of comfort there. I mean, you have an explosion going off 6 inches from your fucking face.
Yeah.
And it's disconcerting at first, and it's intimidating. If you're not comfortable around guns, it's unfamiliar. It all depends on what how you've been raised, but, like, is this like a grenade? It's going to go off if I touch it wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so so that's why I got into trap shooting. So now I'm comfortable with that. That's why I get into handguns. I'm going to do. These aren't the only 2 classes I'm going to take. I'm going to continue down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I'm not out there trying to be fucking Jocko Willink.
No, but it's a skill set.
It's a skill set, man. And yeah.
If you're gonna use it, you gotta know how to use it responsibly.
Correct.
And part of that is knowing how to maintain your emotions, and that just comes from training.
Yes.
That's why we fucking do jiu-jitsu, man. When someone's on your back the first time trying to choke you out, and you're just like, how many times have we had to tell some white belt, like, dude, relax, like, breathe, man. I'm just sitting here, dude, doing nothing, and you are working yourself into a fucking lather here. And fucking, you're into it. Same motherfucker's like cool as a cucumber, and it's like, all right, you still making mistakes, whatever, but you know what I mean. It's a different reaction from them, and it's simply because they're just used to that situation now. Like, they're like, oh, okay, I've been here before. Like, I don't need to panic. And so, yeah, if you're gonna have a fucking gun, you can't have the first time you pull it out be the time you think that you're needing to defend yourself.
It's not gonna go well.
No,
because your heart's gonna be racing. Like, it's
like anything else, man. If you're gonna teach yourself how to be lethal with your body, you got to train it. And again, like, because you have responsibility. Like, if you know how to inflict bodily harm on someone, I mean, we know, man, that's like the worst people. Like the guys who go around just like looking for fights.
Yep.
Just to inflict bodily harm on people. Like, that is so frowned upon in the martial arts community, because it's like, no, you need to, if you're going to hone your body to be a weapon, you got to be respectful of that and know how to use it in the right situations, which is why most guys who really know how to fight don't fight. They fucking turn around and walk off.
Yep.
Because
you get really good at situational awareness.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Same thing with a firearm, man.
Same thing. Exact same thing, man.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's a new little chapter in my life, new thing. It's it's good to be shitty at something.
Yeah.
Improve yourself. It's good for you mentally, emotionally, physically. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah.
Nice, dude.
Because I've been going down this rabbit hole, listening to all these different podcasts, and it's funny too. Is there's a lot of stories that the mainstream media doesn't bring up when a concealed carrier, a good story happens with a concealed carrier. For example, man, there was pretty recently, I think it was in Oklahoma, there was some lady that lost her shit and started firing into a fucking big crowd of people. And concealed carrier took her out. He pulled his gun out, eliminated the threat. Done deal. You didn't hear about it. I didn't hear about it.
Dude, you never hear about that.
But
ever.
And she didn't kill it. She didn't end up killing anybody. I think a couple people got wounded. I can't remember the details. But we didn't hear about it.
No.
But if she would have killed a bunch of people, of course it would have been gun control this, gun control that. This is terrible, blah, blah, blah. Dude, none of us heard about it. No. Dude, that happened just a couple months ago.
Yeah. No, I know.
And there's stories like that all over, man. Like, you start listening to these different gun podcasts. There's actually a company based here in Colorado, man. They put out a lot of good stuff. It's just called Concealed Carry Network. They have a Concealed Carry podcast. They got a website. It's a whole, and I think they're based in like Aurora or something. And their podcast, like once a month, they go over what they call justified saves, and they talk about good things that concealed carriers did, and they also talk about things that went wrong, and then they examine all these cases. Like, hey, this what happened in this case. We're not trying to armchair Sunday or Monday morning quarterback this thing, but we feel he didn't make the proper decision here, here, and here. It ended good. But, so they present all these different, stories to you, and when they go good, when they go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's the education.
Best way to educate people.
The education piece, man. Like, you got to put in the time. Like, if you're not going to educate yourself when it comes to firearms, don't get one.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Because that's a big decision, man.
Yep.
It really is. And you see I'm taking it seriously. I jokingly, like, I'm going to take the sheepdog response, and now I'm going to be a Navy SEAL, going on secret missions for the government. I say that jokingly, but no, man, I know that's not the case, but, educate yourself. Train, read, watch, learn, practice. Something I'm learning, getting into this handgun stuff. A lot of these different training platforms and these guys that are pretty respected in the industry, dry fire practice. Learn just being comfortable handling the firearm, pulling it out, getting your good sight alignment, sight picture, holstering it, unholstering it, dry fire training. They say that's where a lot of people go wrong, with handguns, is they think to get better, you got to go out on the range and shoot live rounds, which you do. That is an important part.
It's not the only thing, though.
But it's not the only thing, man.
Yeah.
Especially the cost of ammo nowadays. You can get a ton of practice dry fire training. Just because it's free.
Yeah.
Just put the time in. Just repetitions, man. Repetitions. Pulling your gun out, finding your target, finding your sights. Boom, put it back.
Yeah. That was one of those things. How was that book? With winning in mind. That was the book that
was it
his
Archer?
name Lenny Basham. No, it was a shooter. Yeah, he's a rifle. Olympic champion rifle shooter. Which again, as you get into it, you start to realize more and more like how fucking badass like those motherfuckers are, and the just the micro, differences that make the difference between winning and losing in those things, and a big part of it is mental. And he was talking about how like one of the years that he won the Olympics, I think he was in like the National Guard or something, but he was stationed somewhere where he didn't have access to a firing range. And so he just practiced dry firing. Yep. And he would spend like an hour or two every day just practicing that. Mm-hmm. And just how valuable that was for him. Like, you make do with what you've got, but that dry fire training was super valuable as, as far as teaching exactly what you said, like more like that mental side of it, like pulling a trigger and hearing it go bang. That's the easy thing.
That's easy.
That's like, when you're doing a takedown, like, finishing the takedown is the easy part. Like, if you did all the work correctly up to that point, like, that's fucking easy. Mm-hmm. It's all the work that went up to that. And it's like so much of that is mental. And so you can get those reps in. Like, dry fire, that'd be like doing your fucking entries into your throws.
Yep.
Right? It's like,
footwork.
I'm not finishing the throw.
Nope.
Right? We're just doing the fucking entry
set your
a
grip
thousand
up,
times.
Set your grip up, footwork in, break the balance, back out.
Back out.
Boom.
Yep.
That is your dry fire version of a takedown or a throw.
Yeah, you don't always have to be taking them down every time. And in fact, you'll save some wear and tear on your partner by not having to finish a takedown every single time you do it. And so
it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's actually how at Fruita, when we do takedown stuff, that's what we'll do is I'll just have them do the entry, and then like the last rep or two, I'll say go ahead and finish. But again, it's
that's the easy part.
It's easy. If you did it right, then
if you set it up and close the distance, the actual putting somebody on the ground is the easy part.
Easy part.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to beat the shit out of yourself and your training partner.
Yeah.
Same thing with firearms. You don't have to beat the shit out of your wallet and your checkbook.
Right.
Out there,
especially
especially
your fucking ears. Like there's the percussion. Yep. Like there is a physical cost that comes. Like you do have a contained explosion going off
in your hands.
Inches from your face. Yeah. It's cool to think about, but it is a mini explosion, and there are physical costs that come from being around that, and it's part of it, right? That's part of hardening yourself, so you're used to the all of that. But too much can be bad as well, I would imagine. So yeah, it's that sweet spot you got to find.
Practice,
man.
Worry about yourself. Take care of yourself. Make yourself an asset, not a liability.
Fucking A, man. Fucking A. So speaking of which, I ordered the Boss Rutan O2 trainer.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've had that for a couple of years.
Have you?
Yeah, I've used it.
You like it?
I haven't used it in a while.
Yeah.
I actually, I've used it now that we're into the Wim Hof breathing and stuff. I've used it with that a couple of times.
Okay.
But you're talking the rubber thing you bite on. Yep. Yeah, dude, it's pretty. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's been, like I say, it's been a while since I've used it again. I haven't gotten into the rhythm of using it regularly, but it's worth the $50-$60. Yeah, I actually bought that, man. It's probably 2-3 years ago now.
I remember when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about it.
That's probably about when I bought it.
Yeah.
I've listened to podcasts so often, I get all excited and I hear something.
Because all the rage at first was the masks, the elevation mask, and it would restrict your breathing in and out. And so the big thing with his trainers, he was one of the first guys to figure out that like you only want to restrict the breathing in one direction.
Yeah. It's the inhalation.
For him, it's mainly the inhalation, but he does talk about like you can use it to train your exhale too.
Right.
He just does it in reverse. But the thing is like you have your nose open to breathe in or out, right? And then you have the trainer to train the other side of the breath. You don't want to train both sides of the breath at the same time. You need to pick a side and train it, and then that's how you're going to get the optimal resistance. Because the resistance for inhaling is going to be way higher than for exhaling. And so I'd imagine, you're probably going to have to set the things a little different. You got
different hole sizes.
Yeah.
You can restrict the port.
Yeah.
Yeah. His is set up to train the inhale or the exhale.
It's the inhale.
Yeah, it's the
so he has you like lean over and then you kind of like.
Yep.
But but I was watching on his thing, and he just kind of had a series of videos, and some of it was like Q&A stuff, and one of it was like, what about the exhale? Because the conscious breathing book that I read and like kind of that method, they're all about the exhale, and it's all about extending the exhale and focusing on the exhale and actually taking in less oxygen, and so training that exhale part, and that's where he had a little video saying, well, you just do it in reverse. You might have to change the resistance level, but then you breathe in through the nose. And out
through the O2
through the mouth, to get the resistance that way. And but yeah, I can see, especially for like the fucking Wim Hof breathing, man, like using that and like really getting those inhalation muscles like fucking really strong, and you can just like start sucking.
It's tough, man. And when you start out, like don't get cocky.
Go
into a small hole. Start out pretty opened up, because it takes a little getting used to. You got this like big mouthpiece thing in your mouth, and some when you get really into it and breathing, you'll start slobbering a little bit sometimes, just because the way it kind of holds in your mouth. So it's a little disgusting sometimes, but no, man, it's good. It's a valuable little tool.
Cool, yeah. Looking forward to it. I got one for me.
I used it, early on in the Wim Hof. I was like, oh, this would be kind of cool to use with the Wim Hof.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, I felt I was kind of new with the Wim Hof stuff, where I felt it was throwing too much stuff at myself.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't stick with it. Like, okay, I can see the value in this, but like, I think I was taking it a little too far.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just do the Wim Hof shit. Get the benefits of this, learn and feel, what this is about. And then if I need to increase my difficulty, it's basically just add weight, add resistance.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't ready to add weight to it yet.
Yeah.
But probably now, probably could, because I'm still doing the Wim Hof, so.
Right. Well, I'm wondering with Kiele, because she's her scoliosis, and I'm talking about like I think that this might be good for helping her like breathe deeper getting that resistance training for those muscles. And so she can, breathe deeper on the Wim Hof stuff. So.
Has she still not found the spirit world to Wim Hof yet?
Kind of. She's funny. I think she's in her own head a little bit, which can happen, man. It's funny, man. You go through, you do it long enough and you go through cycles with it. And, some days you're just like, dude, that was amazing. And other days, like, man, okay, that was pretty good.
I've had days where like that felt like a fucking waste of time. My mind was someplace else. I was just kind of going through the motions, like, disappointed in myself. And
yeah,
you have those days.
But it's still valuable, still good to do. I think, or at least like some sort of breath work on a daily basis. So
incorporating the breath work with the isometrics is fucking pretty badass.
It is, man.
It's nice.
Yeah, shifting the gears, using the breathing as gears on the isos. Yeah. I don't know, I tell you, I read the Dragon Door book on isometrics that they put out to promote their ISO chain. So it's funny because if they didn't have the ISO chain in it, it would be one of the best isometric training books ever put out. It's amazing. But because they're trying to push the ISO chain, it's super easy for dismiss. But yeah, I was looking at it and they have all this research in it. So I was like, what would I pay somebody $13 to do my research for me? Sure. So but going through it, man, the research behind isometrics is fucking crazy. Like, it really is pretty overwhelming that like movement-based exercise is super ineffective and inefficient for getting stronger. And it's like getting stronger, really, like I think that the better way to talk about it is like tension skills. Because what you want to develop is tension skills in different positions and in movements. And so one of the studies they talked about that was super funny, wasn't like, the first part's not funny. They were looking at how to rehab soldiers after like World War I, I think. And they just, noticed that when a limb was not being used, it was wasting away. And so they were looking at, trying to predict muscle wasting or something like that. So they thought that if they splinted the leg of a frog so it was immobilized, that would simulate muscle wasting because they can't move it. They can't use that leg. So it's going to, be like muscle wasting. And so they had the frog splinted, and after a period of time they come back and they take the splints off, and the fucking legs were bigger and stronger than the other leg. And the fucking frogs would jump like crooked because the other leg was so strong.
Jump in circles.
And what they realized had happened was the frogs didn't stop trying to use the leg.
They were just contracting it.
Right. But so they were basically doing isometric training the whole time.
Because they didn't know not to use it. They were just like,
right. There's a difference
leg?
Between like having an injured limb you can't use and a limb that you have immobilized.
Right.
But you're still trying to use
trying to free it.
Right. So you're just creating tension constantly. And so that was one of the first studies that, it's funny, the study was considered a failure, obviously, but when they, looking back in the history of isometrics, that was one of the first studies that started to like hint at like, oh wow, like, isometrics are super powerful way of training. And, but yeah, it's a really good book, but the science is interesting. But it's, if you're trying to improve your strength and you're not doing isometrics, you're fucking up. And if you're trying to improve your cardio and you're not doing breath work, you're fucking up. You look around and all you see is people like trying to get strong, not doing isometrics, and trying to improve their cardio with no like breath work training. And it's like, no wonder people are getting hurt. They can't get results. Like when you start to understand the importance of not over breathing, especially on like fat loss, right? Like if you're a mouth breather and you're trying to lose fat, like the whole thing is if you're over breathing, you can perform well, but it's like doing it with the parking brake on. So you just got to try so much harder to see results because you're not burning oxygen efficiently, which means you're not able to burn fat efficiently. There's just all of these hormonal things that happen. You're just under stress, right? Because when you're breathing through your mouth and shallow chest breathing, is the way that guy Chuck McGee put it. He says it's like you're being chased by the world's slowest bear all day long.
That's pretty funny.
And he's like, and then you go to bed and you're being chased by the bear while you're sleeping because you're breathing through your mouth while you're sleeping. So he's like, your brain is always thinking it's being chased by a bear. And so like when you like, so like your body just gets fucking burnt out basically trying to deal with that. And then everyone's, I can't lose weight, or I've got food allergies, a lot of food allergies. Like, our bodies should be able to handle a little bit of an insult, right? A little knock it off. But what happens is we get so burned out, like our cortisol gets so burned out because it's an anti-inflammatory drug. That's why when you work out, right, cortisol gets released because you're creating inflammation, and the cortisol is an anti-inflammation drug. And so if you're always using it and your cortisol is burned out, you can't so all it takes is a little bit of insult. So you eat fucking nightshade, and all of a sudden you've got a food allergy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, man, like, your body's so out of whack because you're a goddamn mouth breathing, over breather, dysfunctional breather, and no one's teaching you how to fix this shit, but they're going to give you a food allergy test. And they're going to tell you to avoid all these foods and stuff like that. And it's like, well, maybe you do, man, but if you breathe like shit, like, you need to fix that first. And then figure out if you have allergies, then figure out if you've got, asthma, then figure out if you've got these things, because it's, it's this basic thing. It's like somebody saying my back fucking hurts and you can't touch your toes.
They can't sell you anything like that, though, James.
They can, though. That's the thing. Like, that's the thing. It's just it's just weird, man, because a lot of the breathwork stuff, it has like a woo-woo element to it. And so it's really hard. Like, that was, it gets lip service in the fitness industry, but not really like it should. That's something that we're starting to understand. And again, you look at the science behind it and stuff like that. When you start digging into it, like, dude, go Google breathing certification or breathwork certification. It's fucking madness how many there are out there.
Is there a lot of them?
Yeah. Like, like breathwork and breathing is a big thing, but a lot of them are in this like woo kind of side.
Yoga fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
stuff
man.
I don't like.
A little bit, yeah. So, you got XPT. I'm looking at doing the Oxygen Advantage. They've got a certification. So just a little bit more kind of like, science and fact and performance base, as opposed to like spiritual and emotional base, which is fine, man, because we talk to the spirit world every day with Wim Hof, man. So there is a side to that, but I think that's one of the reasons it gets dismissed, because, man, there's no reason you can't teach people how to like breathe properly during an exercise. You know what I mean? You were a coach for a while, and I know you, man. You were doing the fucking best you could because, like, you really care. And if you would have known like how important this was, and like, this is how people need to be breathing, and they shouldn't do things that make them not able to breathe right. So if I increase your load, or I have you do an exercise, you know what I mean? So I put you through a WOD, and you're compromising your breathing. That's not acceptable. Mm-hmm. And there's a time and place for that. It's called competition. But
when you're training,
right? When the lights are on and it's time to go. But yeah, when you're training, like, your breathing is so fucking important. And if you train that, there's just so many good things that happen from it. Like you said, like with the isometrics. Like, once you tie your breathing to the isometrics, it just gets so much better. Mm-hmm. And but we just,
and you get stronger too. Like you can, I almost got 2 minutes on a chin up hang.
Nice.
So isometric and pull ups. Now you can't go as long, but chin ups, where you got your palms facing you. Just for everybody listening. That's how chin ups and pull ups. Yeah. When you do a chin up hang, chin over the bar, and just really concentrating on the breathing. I can do a minute pretty easy. I almost hit 2 minutes the other day.
Nice.
And that's a long time, dude.
That
wasn't easy. I was shaking and really, at that point, by the time I get to that point, I'm, right, getting after it.
Now, is that strength training or is that breathwork training?
Both, huh?
Right, but you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that's where, and then the way you do the stretching, right? Like breathing in and hold and move. Is that breathwork training or is that mobility or flexibility? It's both, and that's how, really it should be. Like, once the breath work is what connects everything together. It's what brings everything together. It's like, this is how you breathe, and now this is how you apply this to different areas, but it always comes back to this, and that's how you can always kind of self-monitor and check and say, am I doing this right? Well, can you breathe properly? Like, that should be your first fucking question. And if you can't, then odds are no, you're not doing it right. And you should figure out how to be able to do it and breathe properly. And if more people would just do that, it would make a huge impact on so much shit. But the breath work and isometrics, and it is a different path than most people.
I've been getting into the rhythm now because they moved my start time up at work. We'll talk about this and wrap it up. But I've been having to go into work like an hour and a half earlier than I was there for a while, and it's taken a minute to get into rhythm, man. Because to try to work out in the morning and walk my dog and do all this shit, I finally kind of getting a system in place to where I'm doing isometrics every morning. Yeah. I don't have a ton of time to do a workout, so you can get a full body workout in 15 minutes. Yeah. You really can. So I've been pretty good about it, getting into this rhythm of isometrics every morning.
Yeah, you can do it, man.
You can just, because you're not destroying your muscles. No. And so you're not all sore. You're not risking injury by overtraining. I don't think so. No,
science shows, man, you can train isometrics pretty much every day.
And I've been doing them every morning, and I'll vary the intensity. If that one day I talked about, I was like, all right, let's see how long I can do the chin up for. The next day when I do my chin up pull or my pull, I just decrease the intensity a little bit. Yeah. I'm just not an idiot about it, So I'll vary the intensity from day to day here and there, and different movements, and because some days I don't do one whole day where I'm going hardcore intensity on everything. I vary it. So my squat this day is going to be real intense, and my pull up, my pulling move is going to be real intense. The rest are going to be intense, but not selling out. And then the next day, those couple moves will be, I'm doing them, but I'm not selling out. The other ones I'll say, so I kind of vary the intensity within the workout each day. I've been dude, the isometrics in the morning, you're out there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting woke up. You feel good afterwards. You're
I know, man. I know. I need to do more of that. I've overcomplicated my training life.
Yeah, I do.
Back to isometrics.
I do that all the time. I overcomplicate it, and it's tough with the isometrics too, because when you get done, you're not soaked in sweat, tired. So then you start, man, did I work out hard enough? Yeah. So then you start, well, fuck, I'm just wasting my time. I mean, it's for me, it's kind of tough because I'm not drenched in sweat.
For me, I start to feel guilty because I got so many other fucking toys to play with, and I'm like, oh man, I should be doing mace this, or I should be doing Indian club that, or I should be doing
I'm the same
fucking
way.
kettlebell whatever.
Why didn't I use my Bulgarian bag? Oh fuck, I haven't done sandbag. I got my ram roller. Yep. Fuck yeah, dude. Yes. Yeah. And I always have the FOMO, oh fuck, I should have been doing this. Yes. Dude, I'm the exact same way.
Yeah,
dude.
I know. I hearing you say that though. I need a detox, a fucking training detox.
Isometrics,
just pure isometrics for a bit, and then start to introduce other shit back in.
You do, because my life got flipped upside down a little bit in the last month or so. Just with my dog getting hit, blah blah blah. So things have changed a little bit. How I've been doing it is most of my work. I still do movement based shit here and there, depending on the day, the schedule. But a lot of it is isometrics. And then like I did yesterday, most of my workout in the morning was isometrics. I got home and I had to spend some time out in the yard with my dog doing a rehab and stuff. And it was a nice day out in the sun, and she likes being in the grass, and her just rolling around in the grass. She really digs it. It's good for her recovery. Yeah. So I put her out in the grass and she's just chilling. I'm just chilling out here. I went and grabbed my mace. I'm just doing, so I'm out here. I took my shirt off, soaking up the sun. I'm getting my dog, hanging out with my dog. She's digging it. I do some reps with the mace. I set it down, do some stuff with her. She gets a little tired. I set her down. I grab the mace. And so no structure to it. Yeah. Just out there moving around in the sun.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah. Again, we overcomplicate it.
Don't overcomplicate it. Don't I got to do this many reps.
We act like training's magic, man.
I know.
If I do this exercise for this reps at this weight, I'm going to get X result. And it's like, dude, it's
no,
not
man.
That.
Get out there. Just do it. You got to you're just outside hanging out with Z. He's jumping his bike or something.
Yeah. That's what I do a lot of, man. I'll get fucking bored, or I'll be in here. I gotta take a 10-minute break, and I'll just go grab my mace and go on the back porch and
just go swing it around a little bit, man. Yeah.
So that's about it. I just got to do my ISOs in the morning.
Yep, just do
That's a good idea. Right. So, all right, we'll leave it on that note. Breath work, isometrics, do them in the morning. You have a better day.
Yep. And, guaranteed. That is a prescription to have a great day.
It'll help you focus on yourself, which will help everybody.
Focus on yourself, people.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Grumpy Guy BJJ Podcast.
Thank you all for listening. You can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. It really does help and will allow us to keep putting out episodes. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, hit us up at grumpyguybjj@gmail.com. Also, go to our website, grumpyguybjj.com, and get signed up for podcast updates and get our free BJJ Improvement Starter Kit. That's it for now, so get on the mat, train hard, and talk to you all next week.
With a permanent rep, a hermit now, boom. Doggy stool, foggy, cool, got a froggy outside Molly dude. Melancholy Daisy Duke, hanging by the lace of their shoes. No trace of the tools, shaped in your face, fuck the rules. Snooze, you lose, one eye always open, at times two, no clue. But soon a brief monsoon might give you a view to choose. Stay tuned, include, won't conclude. To the end is near, beware there's consequences for what you do. To me, demon, a devil of many levels, I keep on beating for several